Remember, a Hallmark card will best express your perfect taste, your thoughtfulness. The makers of Hallmark greeting cards bring you the delightful story of Little Joe, young in years, but old in wisdom, and of Sarah Blevins, who learned her lesson the hard way when she met up with the roof sitter. You know, folks, it's getting so no week's complete unless the youngsters get a new Hallmark doll to add to their collection. So send them Hallmark dolls. Newest kind of greeting cards, gayest gift idea in years. See Hallmark dolls soon. Send one a week to every youngster you know. And now, to preside over our program, in the absence of Tom Shirley, who's on vacation, here is your Hallmark host, Les Tremaine.
Thank you, Fred Uphell. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have a story for you tonight that's a humdinger. If you have any young children at home, you've undoubtedly heard a great deal about child psychology and self-expression. There have been countless books written on the subject, but none, I might add, that have been endorsed by children. Well, tonight I am delighted to report The Worm Turns. Our worm, in this case, is one Joe Marsden, age 6. Opposing him is Miss Sarah Blevins, embattled exponent of modern psychology. From then on, it's anybody's guess. And because Hallmark greeting cards bring you each week just about the finest cast of players you can hear in radio, I'd like you to know some of them. Sarah Blevins is played by Shirley Mitchell, one of the brightest young actresses of radio and movies. She's blonde, and she's pretty. Helen, Joe's sister, is played by talented Betty Filson, whom you heard a few weeks ago on our Hallmark program. Everett Sloan, his father. And Joe is little David Anderson, who has few words but all the dignity of the oppressed man. And here he comes as the makers of Hallmark greeting cards bring you on the Reader's Digest radio edition, The Roof Sitter. That was a window breaking. If you were ever a little boy, you probably broke a window yourself. So you know what it sounds like anyway. This particular window was broken by Joe Marsden, 6 years old. And if you really were a little boy one time, you know we left something out. You know that after a little boy breaks a window, he runs away. And we didn't give you the sound of Joe running. So let's go back again and see how it sounds when the window breaks and Joe runs. All right? Joe breaks the window. And Joe runs. That's the way Joe runs. Not just when he breaks windows. Any old time at all, Joe runs that way.
Joe! Joe! Mama wants you in the house to help wipe the dishes.
Joe, I'm glad to see that you were promoted, but your report card says your conduct was unsatisfactory. Let's sit down and talk about that.
Well, there you are. Joe's a great one for running. He doesn't talk much, though. In fact, there are whole days at a time when Joe's vocabulary is limited to one word. You can hear that word anytime you come up to Joe and say something sweet to him. Like, for example, well, little boy, and how old are you?
Nuts.
Joe Marsden, 6 years old. This is all about the time when Joe's mother went away and left Joe's father to take care of him.
Ah, there you are, Joe. I've been looking for you.
He's been up to something, Daddy.
Have you, Joe?
I can tell by the way he looks.
What have you been doing, Joe? You haven't broken another window, have you?
I guess he's broken another window.
Oh, well, I give up. I wanted both you children here, but if Joe keeps running away... Well, I have something to tell you, Helen. I got a telegram just now. Aunt Sadie is very, very sick.
She isn't just faking the way she did before, is she?
I don't think so.
Well, Then I forgive her for being an old pipsqueak.
Helen, that's no way to talk.
Oh, I'm sorry, Daddy. If you say so, I won't forgive her for being an old pipsqueak.
Oh, you children. You say all the wrong things, and Joe won't say a word. Well, look, Helen, I don't want to disturb your mother while she's on her vacation. Not until it's absolutely necessary. So I'll go to Cleveland to see Aunt Sadie.
And leave Joe and me alone?
Well...
Joe will be a great responsibility, Daddy.
He'll be all right
No,
because...
he won't be all right. He's shy and stubborn, like the time he was supposed to be a butterfly in the Sunday school entertainment. And Miss Wilson tried and tried to push him out on the stage and make him flutter his wings. You remember, Daddy?
Yes, but
he just got down on the floor and wouldn't get up, no matter how much the other butterflies stepped on him with their hobnailed shoes.
Yes, but, Helen, I'm not going to leave you in charge of Joe. I'm going to leave somebody in charge of both of you.
Oh.
Ah, won't that be nice?
Well, who's it going to be?
Oh, your mother told me about a girl, Sarah Blevin.
Mrs. White down the street's niece?
Yes?
Oh, Daddy.
Oh, your mother says she's a fine girl.
Joe won't like her.
He'll like her. Of course he'll like her. Anybody ought to like a girl who's earning her way through college by taking care of children.
Have you met Sarah Blevins, Daddy?
Oh, no.
Joe won't like her. And when Joe doesn't like somebody, there's no telling what will happen. Yes?
Could I see Miss Sarah Blevins, please?
You are addressing Miss Sarah Blevins.
Oh. Well, I'm Mr. Marsden.
Yes?
Yes. My wife said I might call on you to help out with the children while she was away.
Come in, won't you?
Oh, thank you.
Sit down.
Thank you.
No, not there. There, so that the light falls full on your face.
Well, all right. Why do you want the light on my face?
I'm a psychologist, Mr. Marsden.
Oh, I see. Oh, that's very interesting, but why do you want the light on my face?
So that I can study you.
Oh.
Go on.
Go on.
Yes. You have some problem you wish me to take care of?
Oh, yes. Well, as a matter of fact, my wife went on a vacation and left me with the two children. And now I've got to go away for a few days, and so I thought that if you needed a job...
It would seem that you are the one in need, Mr. Marsden.
Yes, I am.
Caring for children is my specialty.
Well, that's why I came to you. Do you think you'd want the job?
I think I'd like to help you out. Yes, Mr. Marsden.
Help me out? Well, that's fine. Now, how much do you usually charge?
I will send you a bill for my professional services after those services have been rendered.
Oh. How old are you?
Psychological tests have shown my mental age to be 46.
Yes. But how old are you?
You mean chronologically?
Yes.
19.
Well, it's pretty nice to be sending out bills for professional services at 19.
Yes. Now I should know what results you expect, Mr. Marsden.
Results?
Yes. What do you expect me to do for your children?
Feed them, wash them, send them to bed on time.
You don't understand. I am a professional woman, Mr. Marsden. I've just completed my sophomore year in college, and I've 3 hours credit in behavior problems of children. Now, are your children behavior problems?
Well, why do you ask that?
Well, you expect me to make your children over, don't you?
Now, look, I'm only going to be gone 3 days, and I want someone to see that they don't get into mischief, that's all.
Have no fear, Mr. Marsden. I shall readjust your children to society.
Now, look here.
But first, I must know more about them.
Look, I've got 2 children. Helen is 12, Joe is 6. They're kids. I want someone to look after them.
What abnormal traits have they?
None.
That's very abnormal.
Is it?
Yes. You You mean to say they never get into trouble? They're never irritated?
Oh, sure. Helen talks too much, and Joe, he doesn't talk at all, as a matter of fact, and he breaks windows a lot.
Wonderful.
What's wonderful?
Your children, particularly the boy. I'm going to surprise you, Mr. Marsden. You're going to be a surprise man when you come home.
That's what I'm afraid of. Oh, how I wish I didn't have to go.
Joe! Nuts. What are you doing, Joe? What are you doing, Joe? You building something? You building something? Oh, I don't know why boys are all the time wanting to take some grass and some sticks and some mud and build something. Joe, what do you think of that Sarah Blevins that's taking care of us? Nuts. Me too. Well, children, well. Oh, here she is. The beds are all made now, and we've got time to get acquainted and get to be nice friends, haven't we? Joe hasn't got time for anything. He's building something. Oh? Why, say, it's a house, isn't it? Isn't it, Joe? Helen, can't you see Joe and I are having a nice conversation? Yes, but I don't see how you can tell that that's a house. I'd hate to live in a house like that. Why, of course it's a house. Joe and I know. Is it a fairy house, Joe? Will a tiny fairy live in it? There he goes. Joe's shy. He shouldn't be encouraged to run away like that. And he shouldn't be encouraged to be shy. I'm going to draw him out. That just makes him worse. Not if it's done right. I'm going after him. Here you are, Joe, playing with marbles, eh? Don't run away, Joe. Miss Blevins thinks she can draw you out. Stop! Joe, don't run away. Come back, Joe. Come on. That's the good boy. There. Now, I have a much better game than marbles, Joe. This is a game with pictures. Now, you see the little girl in this picture? She's rolling a hoop, but something is missing. Can you take this pencil and put in what is missing? I think he likes marbles better. Shh, Helen. Here you are, Joe. Take the pencil. Oh, goodness, now I've got to go into the house after him. It won't do any good. Why not? I've seen ladies bother him before. When he runs away from ladies, he goes where ladies can't go in after him. Where is that? In the bathroom. I see you, Joe. You keep quiet. How did you get out of the house? Her back was turned. Joe, you talk to me a little. Why don't you talk to her? Nuts. Well, I guess I agree with you. Did I hear Joe out here? My, Joe, how smart you were, coming downstairs and getting out here in the front yard without my seeing you. Well, Joe, I have this picture game here for you. Oh, he's climbing up the trellis. My, what a great climber Joe is. But you're coming down now, aren't you, Joe? Let's see how you can come down, Joe. My goodness, you're almost to the roof. Whoa, he's on the roof. Helen, did you see Joe go up the trellis? Yes, Miss Blevins. He's playing he's a little squirrel, isn't he, Helen? Yes, Miss Blevins. I wonder how a little squirrel comes down from the roof. Can you show us, Joe? Yes. We could get the stepladder. Oh, no. The little squirrel will come down himself by and by and get some nuts. That isn't what he meant when he said nuts. No matter. Just leave him alone. Ignore him. I'll be in the house waiting for him. Joe, she's gone in the house now. Why don't you come down? When is she going home? Next Wednesday. I'll come down next Wednesday.
we'll be back in just a moment with the second act of tonight's drama presented by the makers of Hallmark greeting cards from the pages of the Reader's Digest, America's favorite magazine. But now let's see what Grandpa and Peg are doing tonight.
Peg, I hear you were the best little sick girl today.
Yeah, I've been good. Because I wanted to be up for the stories tonight.
Oh, that's fine, Peg. And I have a gift for a good little girl. Here's little Miss Muffet.
Oh, my Hallmark doll.
Yeah.
Please, Grandpa, read the story inside.
All right. See. A little miss named Tuffet on a morning long ago sat down upon a tuffet. That's a pillow, as you know. She got to feeling hungry, so she asked politely, "Please, I'd like to have some curds and whey." That's just plain cottage cheese. And as she sat there eating, why, the first thing that she knew, along by came a spider who was feeling hungry, too. He sat right down beside her without anything to say, and when she saw him sitting there, he frightened her away. I wonder what's got into her. She left in such a fright. Oh, well, the spider said, I guess I'll stay and eat a bite. And one bite led to two, of course. Then two bites led to three, and so on till the spider was as full as he could be. And pretty soon he realized he'd made a bad mistake, and how he groaned and how he moaned about his tummy ache. Miss Muffet overheard him, and although it made her sad to hear the spider moan and groan because he felt so bad, she said, "That's what you get for being rude and greedy, too, and scaring folks and eating things that don't belong to you. You must have left your manners home or somewhere else today." And then she stamped her little foot and frightened him away.
Folks, do you know the easiest way in the world to make young eyes sparkle? Send them another Hallmark doll to add to their collection. Yes, the treat of the week for any youngster is a Hallmark doll. They're greeting cards, but more, they're bright, colorful dolls from the land of make-believe. Topped by a real plume, each stands 8 inches high, and inside every Hallmark doll is a gay story rhyme. Hallmark dolls are just 25 cents apiece. See them soon. Send them often. And now, back to The Roof Sitter. In the afternoon, Joe was still up on the roof, sitting beside the chimney. Sarah was inside the house, still secure in her conviction that Joe would come down if she ignored him. Little Helen was on the ground talking to Joe, and she didn't notice the man with the camera who came walking up the street.
Excuse me, little girl.
Oh, hello, mister.
Hey, you're a very nice-looking little girl. You know that? Say, how'd you like to have your picture on the Kitty's Vacation page of the Morning Journal?
Oh, thank you very much, mister. I think that would be very good publicity.
You think your brother would like to have this picture in the paper, too?
Oh, it's hard to tell about my brother. Why don't you ask him?
All right. Hey, kid, come on down. I'll take your picture and put it in the paper.
No.
I guess your brother doesn't want his picture in the paper.
Oh, it's not that.
No?
No. He'd probably like to have his picture taken, but he can't come down from the roof.
Why not?
He took a vow he was going to stay there until next Wednesday.
He what?
He took a vow that he was going to stay there until next Wednesday.
Hey, what's your brother's name?
Joe Marsden.
Joseph Marsden, huh? How old is he?
He's 6.
Joseph Marsden, 6. Is this your house?
Yes, sir.
Joseph Marsden, 6 of 342 Cedar Street. Now, tell me something. Why won't he come down till next Wednesday?
Because Sarah Blevins isn't going to leave here until next Wednesday.
Who is Sarah Blevins?
Oh, she's the girl that's taking care of us while my mother and father are away. She thinks she knows all about taking care of children. She studied it in college. That's why Joe doesn't like her.
You know, I believe I'll take your brother's picture from down here. I'll shoot him right up there on the roof.
Hey, Joe! Joe, the guy's going to take your picture. The guy's going to take your picture.
Hold it, Joe. There we are. Thanks, Joe. And thank you, sister, for a swell story.
Hey, mister, you forgot to take my picture. Boy, it's a hard climb up here to this roof for a girl. Well, anyway, Joe, here's some food for you for tonight, and here's a blanket. And if you ever tell Miss Blevins I gave them to you, I'll never speak to you again, Joe Marsden. Good.
Blevins. I brought the paper.
Didn't nice Miss Blevins tell the nice little girl to go out right after breakfast and see if her brother was still on the roof?
I went out right after breakfast.
Yes, but you didn't come right back in again and tell me whether your brother was on the roof.
Couldn't you go out and see whether he was on the roof?
No, I want him to know that I'm ignoring him.
But you want me to tell you whether he's still on the roof.
Yes, dear.
Then you're not ignoring him.
I want him to think I am.
Well, I think you'd better find some way of getting him down from there.
He is still up there, then.
Oh, yes.
Well, tell me, Helen, didn't he say he was hungry?
Oh, no, he said he had plenty to eat.
What?
Oh, gosh.
Helen, you didn't give any food to your brother last night, did you?
No, ma'am.
Then where did he get anything to eat?
From the pigeons.
Helen, did you go up there on the roof last night?
No, ma'am.
Did you go up there on the roof this morning?
Yes, ma'am.
Then that's why you were so long coming back. What were you doing up on the roof?
Why, I just thought Joe would like to see his picture in the paper.
What?
Yes, ma'am. And he did. He enjoyed it very much. I had a hard time getting the paper away from him.
Let me see that paper.
Sure, here it is. See? There's Joe's picture.
Cedar Street boy on sit-down strike on roof. Joseph Marsden, 6, rebelling against modern theories of child care. Oh, what will your parents say?
As a paper devoted to the interests of our democracy, the New York Times has always contended that the cornerstone of that democracy is discipline. This newspaper cannot therefore take a light view of the action of young Joseph Marsden, who has defied authority by taking to the roof of his father's house. Though young in years, Mr. Marsden should by now have learned that submission to properly constituted authority is the truly American way. That he has not learned this lesson is a shameful commentary on the inadequacies of the teaching of history in our public schools. It is scarcely too much to say that our entire system of public education
We at PM, from the day of our founding, have been against people who push other people around. Little Joe Marsden has, in one short day, become the symbol of all the oppressed people who refuse to let their fascistic tormentors still their courageous voices. Little Joe Marsden sits on his roof. Little Joe Marsden refuses to be pushed around. Hats off to Little Joe Marsden.
Joe Marsden clicks with Hicks as Rooftop Act does Bach Biz.
People out in front of the house looking up at Joe.
Oh, dear, what will we do? What will we do?
I don't know what you're going to do, but I'm going to sell lemonade. Get your ice-cold lemonade here. Ice-cold lemonade.
Helen, come back into the house.
I can't, Miss Blevins. Selling lemonade is my self-expression. Get your ice-cold lemonade here.
Let me through here. Let me by. Let me pass. I'm that boy's father. Let me through.
Daddy, what are you doing back so soon?
Aunt Sadie was faking again. Miss Blevins, what is the meaning of this crowd here in front of my house? And what is my son doing up there on the roof?
Oh, don't ask Miss Blevins, Daddy. She's ignoring the whole thing.
Answer me, Miss Blevins.
It's just a case of antisocial conduct on his part, Mr. Marsden.
Well, why didn't you tell him to come down?
It is poor pedagogy to make direct requests of a child.
I'll teach you some pedagogy.
I don't need to be taught. I have my own methods, and if you intend to interfere, I shall have to withdraw from the case. Good day.
Good day. Now, all right, you people. Quiet down. I want to be heard here. Look, I'm the father father of that boy up there, and I'd like you all to stay silent so that I can talk to him. All right, Joe. You come down here this minute.
Yes, Daddy.
Well, Joe, what have you got to say for yourself?
Nothing, Pa.
Are you ever going to do anything like this again?
No, Pa.
Well, get into the house this minute. I guess he'll be a good boy from now on.
Oh, gee. Then it's going to be up to me to cause all the trouble around here.
And there goes Joe. A word to the wise is sufficient, if it's the right word. And thanks to the cast for a great performance. As for Joe, well, I read a line in the Reader's Digest the other day that about sums up Joe. William Muldoon wrote it. A champion, he says, is a fellow who gets licked 2 or 3 times a week and keeps right on calling himself a champion.
Friends, if you're looking for a birthday gift for a favorite youngster, buy a set of 8 Hallmark dolls. Send them by mail or take them yourself. But see that the youngsters you love get Hallmark dolls. They're only 25 cents apiece, so they make wonderful table favors, place cards, exciting party prizes. Buy Hallmark dolls where you buy your Hallmark cards.
This is Les Tremaine inviting you to be with us again next week. At that time, you will hear one of the most exciting and gripping stories we've ever presented. You couldn't call it a mystery story, although it is packed with mystery. You couldn't call it a psychological drama, although psychology lies at the core of its being. You couldn't call it a chase story, although there is an unusual and spectacular chase with an ending that will leave you breathless. You'll just have to hear it. So be with us next week for another fine dramatic program presented by the makers of Hallmark greeting cards. Here to welcome you, then, will be your regular Hallmark host, Tom Shirley. I enjoyed being with you while Tom was on vacation, and I shall look forward to next week when he'll be back to introduce you to our thrilling presentation of The Prisoner of the Night.
You know, friends, tragedy on the highway is on the increase. In 1946, over 1,200,000 persons were killed or injured in automobile accidents. Accidents caused chiefly by violation of traffic laws. So please drive carefully and observe all traffic regulations. Remember, the life you save may be your own. The Loose Sitter was dramatized by Robert Senabella from Francis Eisenberg's book, There's One in Every Family, as it appeared in the Reader's Digest, America's favorite magazine. The Hallmark program was directed by Mark Slobe, with music especially composed by Jack Miller. To be doubly sure of the finest quality, always look on the back of your cards for those 3 identifying words: a Hallmark card. This is Fred Utel speaking for the makers of Hallmark greeting cards. Buy Hallmark dolls where you buy Hallmark cards. Remember, a Hallmark card will best express your perfect taste, your thoughtfulness. Stay tuned for Herbert Marshall and the Man Called X, which follows immediately over most of these same stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.